Put simply, functionalism says that a mental state isn't about the specific gooey brain cells involved. Nope, it's all about its job description. A feeling like pain, for instance, is just defined by its inputs, like, say, touching a hot stove, and its outputs, yelling, ouch, and pulling your hand away. What it's made of is irrelevant. It only matters what it does.
And this is the core analogy that functionalism gives us. It's super intuitive, right? If your brain is just the physical hardware, the machine itself, then your mind, your consciousness, is simply the software running on it. And in theory, you could run that exact same software on a completely different machine and still get the very same thoughts and feelings.
But what if we took that idea to its absolute limit? What if we tried to run that mind software on some very, very unusual hardware? This is where philosopher Ned Block comes in and puts the whole theory to the ultimate test.
Block asks us to imagine something pretty wild. First, you map out the entire functional organization of a mind, every connection, every input, every output. Then, you hook up a body's nervous system to a gigantic network. But here's the twist. Instead of neurons firing, each tiny role is played by a person, one of the citizens of China, all communicating with each other using two-way radios.
So why China? Well, at the time Block was writing, its population was about 1 billion people. And that number, he figured, might just be large enough to simulate the mind-boggling complexity of all the neurons in a human brain. We're talking about a system on a truly staggering scale. So, picture this. The system is up and running. The body stubs its toe. A signal goes out to the network in China. Millions of people start radioing each other according to a set of rules. And finally, a signal comes back telling the body's mouth to scream. Functionally, it's perfect. But, and this is the absolute crux of the argument, Block asks, is something missing? He argues that this system would completely lack what philosophers call qualia. Qualia is just the technical term for the subjective, private, first-person feeling of an experience. It's the what it's likeness of it all. The system can make the body shout, ouch, sure, but does it actually feel the sharp sting of pain? Does it truly experience the deep redness of a sunset?
And this really is the question at the heart of the entire experiment. Would this enormous collective, this nation of people just following instructions and sending radio signals, would it actually generate a single, unified, conscious experience?
Block's answer is a resounding no. He argues it would just be a giant, complex, but ultimately mechanical system processing messages. It would be a perfect imitation of a person, what's called a philosophical zombie. It acts conscious on the outside, but on the inside, there's nobody home. And if he's right, that means function alone just isn't enough for consciousness.
Now, as you can probably guess, the functionalists didn't just pack up and go home. They fought back, trying to show that there were serious flaws in Block's thought experiment.
First, they said the system isn't really the same because it could be disrupted by things a brain isn't, like a rainstorm or some radios running out of batteries. But Block's reply was that that's irrelevant. Those are just interruptions to the system's function, not part of the function itself. As long as it works, it works. Their second objection was that the China brain would be incredibly slow. But Block just shot back. Why should speed have anything to do with consciousness? Can't a mind be slow?
It matters because it so brilliantly shines a light on this deep, deep mystery at the heart of consciousness, what's often called the qualia gap. We can explain the mechanics of how a system works, how it processes information, but we still have no idea how to explain why it has a subjective inner life.